Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
It's always nice to know that we're safe in the hands of the Milice de Saint-Geneviève. So, as I said before, welcome once again to the Jour de Fete. We especially want to welcome the Laporte and Fisher families who are gathered here this weekend for the Project Pioneers gathering. Next, I would like to introduce and call on Father Edward Nemeth, our new pastor at St. Genevieve Catholic Parish, to bless the proceedings. Father?
Thank you. It is a great pleasure to be here and to be able to represent the parish that is the foundation of the expansion of the church in this great country of ours. So I ask you to remove your hats and to bow your heads, and remember, as always, we are in God's presence as we pray. Good and gracious God, we, the community of St. Genevieve, give you thanks, praise, and glory for the many blessings you have bestowed upon our community. We give you praise for the 200-plus years that this community has grown and thrived on the shores of the Mississippi. We give you thanks especially for the great heritage of the pioneers that settled this territory. We give you thanks for our strong city, for our strong community, and for the faith that resides so deeply here. We ask you to bless this Jour de Fete this weekend. Bless all those that will travel here. May we always be united in our common heritage and always realize that all the blessings we have come from you. We ask this in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Father. And so now, this being Jour de Fete, our French celebration, it is only appropriate that we call on les petits chanteurs to sing a round of C'est l'Aviron for us as an introduction to their ceremony here. Please feel free to join in. I know I will be. C'est l'aviron qui nous mène, c'est l'aviron qui nous mène en haut. Here we go. C'est l'aviron qui nous mène, c'est l'aviron qui nous mène en haut. C'est l'aviron qui nous mène, c'est l'aviron qui nous mène en haut. Everybody, c'est l'aviron qui nous mène, c'est l'aviron qui nous mène en haut. C'est l'aviron qui nous mène, c'est l'aviron qui nous mène en haut. Thank you, Patty Nager and Les Petits Chanteurs. Next, we'd like to call on our mayor, Mr. Paul Hassler, to come up and say a few words. Paul?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, what a beautiful day the Lord has made. Amen?
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you very much. On behalf of the city of St. Genevieve, we want to welcome you all. And just what a great festival, a day of celebration. Well, 2 days of celebration. So, and that's what we're going to do this weekend. And we want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. It's just an honor and a privilege to be able to speak to everybody. Congratulations to the Fisher and Laporte families as we honor you and the Project Pioneers. And that's what I want to tell you, folks. This festival is great and it's grandeur, and it took a lot of work. And I had the honor this year for about 3 or 4 months following this group, the Jour de Fete committee, and what they all do. And I appreciate that, and very grateful for all the volunteers that make everything happen here, the singers, the musicians, and that's what makes this city great. And it's built on it. So we just, again, welcome you, thank you, and God bless everyone. Amen.
Thank you, Mayor Paul Hassler. Now, those folks that put this whole event together for us and make it happen every year, the Jour de Fete Committee. Last year we celebrated our 50th anniversary of the Jour de Fete, so obviously this is the 51st, and I'd like to call on Brenda Hayden, who has become the spokeswoman for the Jour de Fete Committee. Brenda, if you would, please.
I'm right behind. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy we got good weather this year. Last year was not good. I first want to thank the Fisher family and the Laporte family. Our Pioneer Project is a stable with the Jour de Fete. This year we have over 145 crafters, and just enjoy your weekend here. We have lots of food. We have all kinds of food, drinks, and most of the booths are sponsored by local organizations. So this is something that if you want, you need to support our local organizations. So we try to keep everything local as much as we can, and just have a good time.
Okay. Thank you, Brenda. Let's keep that applause going for just a second, folks, to thank this Jour de Fete committee for making this happen every year. Okay, I believe next on our program, let me double check my notes here to make sure I haven't forgotten anyone. No, it looks like we're good. We're going to call on Les Petits Chanteurs now to honor our French and our German families with a French and a German song. And I'm getting a note from our music leader here. Okay. Betty Valley Gagnager, I know that you're in the crowd. I think you've just been asked to join the group here. So the Les Petits Chanteurs have been with us for a number of years, folks, 30 plus years, and they're getting smaller in numbers but a little bit older in age. But they continue to show up at this festival and a few others that we have throughout the year, and they rehearse and perform both French and German songs to honor our two founding families of St. Genevieve. So, Les Petits Chanteurs first, and then they'll become Die kleinen Sänger. Oh, we're doing Die kleinen Sänger first. That's the German, little children in German. Betty, she's little. Here you go, Betty.
Oh, yeah.
This is the Baden-Lied, folks. It's a German, essentially sort of the national anthem of that region. Am I right, Betty?
Yes.
Okay.
Land in Deutschland kann, das ist mein Vaterland. Es ist so herrlich, Sonne so schön und ruht in Gottes Hand. Drum grüß dich, mein Vaterland.
Baden-Land!
Du Perlen, Deutschland, frisch auf, mein Vaterland. In Zelda macht man Porzellan, in Entersbach Papier, in Biberach da brat man das weltberühmte Gelbier. Drum grüß ich dich, mein Vaterland.
Baden-Land!
Du Heil, Perlen, Deutschland, frisch auf, mein Vaterland.
Thank you, Betty. And what are we doing next, Patty? Oh, Alouette. Okay, this is a sing-along, folks. I hope I remember the French anatomy, parts of the French anatomy. 2 or 3. Okay, well, okay. Alouette, jeune alouette, alouette, je te plumerai la tête, je te plumerai la tête, et la tête, alouette, oh, alouette, je te je te plumerai, je te plumerai le bec, je te plumerai le bec, et le bec, et la tête, alouette. Oh, alouette, je te alouette, alouette, je te plumerai, je te plumerai la bouche, je te plumerai la bouche, et la bouche, et le bec, et la tête. Oh, did I forget alouette? Figures. Alouette, alouette, je te plume, one more. Je te plumerai la jambe, et la jambe, et la bouche, et la bec, et la tête. Alouette. Oh, alouette, je te alouette, alouette, je te plumerai. Thank you, thank you. Not thank me, thank them. Okay, only appropriate that Les Petits Chanteurs has done their French and German songs this morning as a preface to the Project Pioneers. Were you going to do another song? Oh, yeah, that would be a good one. Another sing-along then. All right? And you all know this one. These are physically motivating songs here. So, it's a little German trilogy. Lieber Augustin, 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 ach, du lieber Augustin, 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 come on everybody, Augustin, Augustin, ach, du lieber Augustin, Augustin, ach, du lieber Augustin, 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 ach, du lieber Augustin, 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 ach, du lieber Augustin, Augustin, du liegst mir in Herzen, du liegst mir in, du liegst mir in Herzen, ach, du bist in. Raise a glass. Aye, 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 aye. Again. Raise your glass. Aye, 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 aye. Du liegst mir in Herzen, du liegst mir in Sinn, du machst mir in Herzen, du bist der bin. Ja, 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 ja. Ja, 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 ja. Mein Hut, der hat Dreiecken hat. Mein Hut, my hat, it has three corners. In hat, it needs Dreiecken. If it doesn't have three corners, it's not my hat. Mein Hut, der hat Dreiecken hat. Mein Hut. Er nicht Dreiecken, denn das ist nicht mein Hut, mein Hut. Now, thank you, Les Petits Chanteurs and die kleinen Sänger. It has been since 1989 that the Project Pioneers has recognized two founding families of the city of St. Genevieve, one being French and one being German, the Germans having come about 100 years after the French had arrived here in the mid-1700s. That program is held at the County Services Building just up the street here, a block and a half, and the exhibit of that genealogy exhibit is there. The folks that are standing in our crowd wearing the colorful t-shirts are members of those families, the Laporte and the Fisher family. I would like to call on the chairman, Bev Roth, to come up here and introduce the guest speakers for these families today. Bev?
Good morning. Project Pioneer was started in 1989 by Lucille Balsler to honor the German and French families of St. Genevieve. This year's families are the German Fisher family and the French Laporte family. Gilfoff was a big part of our Project Pioneer organization, and he was in it for the last 16 years. He did everything with a laugh and a smile. We lost Gil in May after an illness with cancer, and we miss him. So the French speaker is Terry Hollers. Terry is a lifelong resident of St. Genevieve, and he works at the Limekill and Follard Bus Company. He is the great-grandson of Anna Laporte Kreitler.
I'm going to wear my welding helmet around all day.
Get you right on the mic.
Thank you. Laportes are from France, which is French. Topographic name for someone who lived near of the gates of a fortified town and often in charge of them. From Old French port, gateway entrance. From Latin porta, door entrance. With a definite article law in French Canada, it is a secondary surname, which has also been used alone since 1670. Hello, I'm Terry Hollers. My great-grandmother was Anna Laporte Kreitler. Her great-grandparents was Louis and Marie Laporte. Louis was born in 1760 in France and died in 1820 here in St. Genevieve. William L. Laporte, son of Louis Laporte and Marie Huberto, and great-grandson of Thomas Laporte, was married to Marie Louise Catherine Lamandier, daughter of Basil Lamandier and Catherine Dufour, on April 28, 1846 in St. Genevieve. I have found that William and Marie had one child, William Louis Laporte, naming him after two of Marie's previous husbands. I have also found where William Louis Laporte may have been adopted by Marie after Louis had passed away. So my research must continue. There is a Marie Laporte house just a block and a half up Market Street from here, just past Sweet Things Candy Shop. Marie was known to be one of the wealthiest ladies in St. Genevieve. Project Pioneer has our exhibits located in the Packey Room just across the street from the Marie Laporte house. Please stop by for a visit and check out our exhibits. And as we have home-baked cookies, thanks to Mary Ellen Brown and Brenda Klein from Immaculate Conception Church, Catholic Church in Kaskasky. Also, we have air conditioning. As for my experience in working with Project Pioneer Committee, it has been a lot of work, yet a lot of fun. I have had the opportunity to meet, speak to relatives I haven't talked to or seen in years, as well as meeting relatives that I have never met until I started this project. Everyone has been a great help to us in making our family tree project a success. The Project Pioneer Committee, Barbara Balzer Peterson, Beverly Roth, Mary Valligek Nagar, and Jean Pettis has been there to guide us to this point. Thank you, ladies. This experience has really been enjoyable, and everyone needs to get involved with Project Pioneer Family Research, as this is not their family tree, it is our family tree. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Presenting for the Fisher family is Jessica Fisher. Her initial interest in German and the German language came from a cassette tape and a translation booklet she found in her grandparents' attic. She is the granddaughter of Glennon and Mac Fisher and daughter of Eddie and Lori Fisher. She was an avid learner of the language starting in middle school all the way through college. Jessica ended up studying German for a total of 10 years, including a semester abroad in Tübingen, a town not too far away from many Fishers who immigrated to St. Genevieve. She graduated from Mizzou with multiple degrees, including a bachelor's in German. If she's not qualified for this job, then nobody is.
Guten Morgen alle und willkommen in Tage der Feiern. For translation, welcome everyone into our days of celebration, or as we lovingly refer to it, as locals go, Jour de Fete. About 100 years after St. Genevieve was established as a town, Fisher started immigrating from Germany. So between the 1830s and the 1880s, 4 different lines from 4 different small towns ended up coming into St. Genevieve. Now, the funny thing is that the state lines for Germany were not drawn until 1871 when it became a country. However, it ended up that all 4 lines were from the same state. The state is Baden-Württemberg, and the capital here is Stuttgart. As I said, there were 4 different families that came from Baden-Württemberg. Here is kind of a blown up map of the state itself, and actually, as a comparison, just so you can get an idea, Germany is the same size as Missouri, about. So you can imagine the difference in distance anyway. Okay, thank you. I have an assistant. So the family that came from Buchheim was originally dated back to a man named Johannes, and unfortunately, because of the lack of male births, just like 2 other lines that I'm going to talk about here, there weren't any more people to carry on the name in St. Genevieve, and so the Fishers that came from Buchheim here ended up being tied into the Veith line by Johannes' daughter. Here is Hofweier. Hofweier is where Lorenz Fisher family came from. Lorenz's son was obviously carrying on the name, but he actually moved to St. Louis, so that only left a daughter who married into the Huck line. Over here is Wendelsheim, where Augustine's line came from. Again, lack of male births, the daughter married into the Music family. So essentially, those 3 lines, all of the namesake ends at those lines. So there's only 1 Fisher line that remains from the original Fishers that came into St. Genevieve, and that just happens to be my line. So we have our line traced back to the immigrant Andreas. He was from Winschlag, and Winschlag is right here. So we were actually able to track the family back 6 more generations, where they ended up coming from a town called Weildorf, which is over here. So we would have gone back further with the history. However, there was some issue with the church records, and 10 to 15 years of them are missing. So unfortunately, we can't take it back to any further than the early 1700s. So if you take a look at this, between these two towns, this is Hofweiler, this is Winschlag. This is about the distance from, let's say, New Offenburg to town, okay? And then from Hofweiler to Buchheim, this is about from town to Festus. So you can kind of see the difference in how far away they are from each other with those comparisons. But keep in mind that this was during the day and age of the horse and carriage. This was not something that people took on, you know, very often anyway, that they went from place to place, because it was a really rough ride, if you will. Although all of the families did come from the same area, you can't believe it, but they are unrelated. So in 1881, Andreas, like I said, was the one who emigrated. 2 years later, he married Carolina Ketterer. So as they came to the States, Carolina was actually here before. They changed their names. Andreas changed to Andrew, and Carolina to Caroline. Carolina was from Ebersweier. Ebersweier is in the same orange area, if you can see right here, which is in the same region of the state called Ortenaukreis. Now, a little known fact is that many Germans that moved into St. Genevieve, not just the Fisher line, they came from this area, this orange area called Offenburg, hence why we have New Offenburg. So Andreas and Carolina were very poor when they were starting out as a family, and they moved to River of Oz. When they started having children, they started the longest line of fishers that live in St. Genevieve. Now, keep in mind that up until that point, it was very frequent that every other child would pass away because of the difficulties of living back then in the 1800s. So they started the long line with 2 daughters and 1 son named Charles Ludwig Fisher, who was my great-grandfather. Now, they were blessed with an abundance of male births, which is why the line still lives today. So 10 out of the 13 children they had lived into adulthood, and all 7 of the sons that remained served in the military. 5 of those sons served during World War II at the same time. So we're talking the entire family was in the military here. During World War II, my grandpa was one of those brothers or sons who served at that time. Now, like I said, they were very poor, so I wanted to note that when they went to school originally, they did not speak any English, my grandfather. So they had to learn English in school, and when they started working, they were working out in the copper mines because they lived in the River of Oz area. And in that time, because they were very poor, my grandfather specifically, they had 1 pair of shoes, and those were their Sunday shoes. He worked in the copper mines barefoot for years and years, if you can imagine. Now, I'm going to move on to the meaning of the crest. So the crest is very personalized to our line. We have the fish on there because obviously fish in German means fish. Fisherman is a historic job title of the fishers, but also there were a lot of farmers in the family. So that's why we added the plow and the wheat. Now, the roots that are below the crest signify that the roots really run deep in the family. So let me give you an idea. Andreas had 3 children, 13 grandchildren, 33 great-grandchildren, 66 great-great-great-grandchildren, and I'm one of those, and 13 great-great-great-great-grandchildren. Now, that's a lot. So, 6 generations since immigration, we have really spread the tree far and wide, and after doing a lot with this project, we have found that we're basically related to almost every person in town. So, we only have 6 males remaining that carry the name, and we hope to keep the line going. So before we kick everything off here, I definitely want to thank Carol Rogers. She had a lot to do with the putting together of the family tree. I'd like to thank everybody for all of their help and their volunteer, and I'd like to thank all of you for listening today.
Thank you, Jessica. Now we're going to pick the names for Project Pioneer for next year.
So this is the German.
Oh, I picked
You pick it. I picked the French, right? No, this is the German. Oh, yeah. There we go. German.
What's this?
For names for next year.
Greminger.
That's the German
That's
side.
the German.
Okay. Oh, so the French picked the German, now the Germans are going to pick the French.
Saint Genevieve Beauvais for the French.
Okay.
All right.
Now, if you'll excuse us, we're going to embrace our German heritage and get our fair share of pork in for the day.
There you go. Okay.
Well, thank you, Bev. Thank you, speakers of the LaPorte and the Fisher families. The Project Pioneers project is always an education for all of us to learn more about the great heritage that we have going on in St. Genevieve here. And I would suggest, so of you Fishers and LaPortes that are out there, how many of you know that you might be related to the Gremingers or the St. Gem Beauvais? Chances are you might be from what we've heard today. So, Gremingers and St. Gem Beauvais, do we have any members of those families here? Okay. Well, your work's cut out for you between now and next year's Jour de Fete. At this time, we're coming to the close of our program. Before I introduce our next speaker, just want to tell you a little bit about our King's Ball, which happens every year in February, the first Saturday night in February, and it's always a great time. Quite a few folks dressed in period costume, and we have string music with a caller that teaches us square dances and contra dances in the evening. So if you've never been part of that, why, think about it. But one of the events that we do that night is to crown our king for the forthcoming year. But in the case of leap year, we call it the Queen's Ball, because on leap years, we crown a queen rather than a king. We have with us our queen from 2 years ago. She's extended her reign into this year because this year's king and queen couldn't be here. So Mary Lee Wisnowski has been racking up the tenure here that nobody else has, I don't think, in the whole history of the King or Queen's Ball. She's going to send us on our way to have a great day, but I want to tell you about the remainder of the program. Following her send-off, our German band will have a couple of closing numbers, and then St. Genevieve's Cloggers, the St. Genevieve Cloggers? Stompers. Oh, okay. But they do Appalachian-style clogging. The St. Genevieve Stompers will be performing right here in the intersection following the German band's last number. So stick around for that entertainment, and I will sign off now and say, have a great day, everyone. And here is our Queen, Mary Lee Wisnowski.
Well, I couldn't be prouder to be back again this year. Last year, if you'll remember, I didn't get the verbal message to be over here, and you had to listen to me over a telephone, so it was like lack of communication in a time
Yeah.
of real good communication because you heard me over the phone. But this year I got the message, and it's just like life, you know. When the man can't make it, the king, the woman has to step up to the plate, you know, whether she's queen this year or last year. So I just want to welcome all of you to my favorite town in the whole world, and let the festivities begin.
Thank you, Mary Lee. And I'm glad to have been your escort
Yeah, he was
on
my
a few
king. He was my
occasions
king.
in this past
He was
year and a
one of
half.
my kings.
So, okay, and with that, the German band is going to perform one or two more songs for us, and then the St. Genevieve Stompers will take over the show.
Want to say something about the eclipse coming down the road?
Oh, that's right.
I mean, just to let everybody know.
If
We're
they
in the
don't
middle.
already.
Lay around the shack till the mail train comes back, and I'll roll in my sweet baby's arms. Well, I ain't gonna work on the railroad, I ain't gonna work on the farm. Hey, I'll lay around the shack till the mail train comes back, and roll in my sweet baby's arms. Well, I'm rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms. Lay around the shack till the mail train comes back, and I'll roll in my sweet baby's arms.
catching all the action here.
No, we do not have that, but we do have some tarantulas, and we have the only live armadillo that I've ever seen. Oh, sure. Yeah, that's right in that moment. Yeah, right in that moment. I've seen them live. They do a lot of digging in.
Maybe you can't touch it though. Don't touch it. I don't know. Oh, it's a real one. What the heck is that? It's a mountain owl. Don't touch it. It's illegal. I thought that was stuffed animal. Is it little? Yeah. I didn't even notice it was alive. I didn't. I don't know. Legally attacking with your boy. You let the boy touch the white head.
Howdy. Well, you like that? I got one over here to the south.
Oh, wow. I gotta look at this picture up here.
This is Sharon Schnitter. It has its roots in the church. Originally, it was done in the Middle Ages in the monasteries as holy pictures. That's the black ones. The colored ones are my relief from doing so much black art.
Yeah, I'm sure. This is so nice.
It's wonderful fun.
You get all those pictures? Yes, I do. Wow. Lots and lots of paper cutting.
That is so cool. Look at that.
When you're dealing with these really old skills like this and the things that the other people here are doing, there aren't many teachers.
Maybe that nobody knows about the other one.
জিনিসটা করতেছে ওইটা ওটার কারণে একটু পিকচার লাগে ও দেখতেছে আমি কেজি মেয়ে করতেছে
If any of you folks have questions, I know a few answers.
Where did you learn to do that?
My kitchen table. No, I'm self-taught, and I've been cutting since 1970.
It's beautiful. They're all so beautiful.
This is a German art called Sharon Schnitter. It was originally holy pictures.
Did you see anyone doing it, or did you
No.
see pictures, or
No, none of the above. I went to, do you remember the art that Henri Matisse did? He did a lot of bold people from the South Pacific. He was an artist that stood at an easel
But when he was in his 80s, he was bedridden and could no longer do that. And so he started combining blobs of color, cut paper, red, yellow, blue, gluing them on a poster board. I went to the St. Louis Art Museum to see his work, and I didn't care for it at all. It didn't make any sense to me. So I decided that I could cut paper that would tell stories and would make people smile. And I started the very next day it was Easter, and I cut an Easter egg and I put a Noah's Ark in it, and I haven't stopped cutting since.
Did you know that there is,
No, I didn't know this was an art form.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, about 3 months later, told me my Sharon Schnitter was improving, and I didn't know what she was talking about.
So you kind of invented your own.
I invented my own, however, my technique, due to inheritance, is German.
Are you German?
My name is a German name, Winkler, but I'm not really German.
But it's really pretty, very pretty. Nice meeting you.
I'm glad you stopped.
I said it's just real thin, you don't have to heat it up. Yeah, exactly.
There's the trick.
The last part's the hard part.
That's right. These are easy. This is pop. It'll forget a lot of years. Walnut and cherry doesn't forget anything.
Yeah. Really cool.
Shade well. What are you working on right now?
It's a bent wood box. Basically a replica of stuff dating back a couple thousand years. But there are these two here and that one are based on an original in a museum up in Iowa, and they are built exactly the same way as those that come out of Viking grave ship burials, dating back to as early as 1700 AD. That's a shaker design, basic shaker design sewing box there. The black walnut. That is basically the shaker carrier. They didn't call them a basket, it was a carrier. They thought of the baskets as being woven.
Right.
And that bent wood, that's a board 53 inches long, bent into an ellipse.
No, not yet. I think
She. I used to have short hair too, got it all the time, so I apologize. You're wearing it.
morning, motherfucker. What? Joe, get the camera, man. I got all the way down the end, the middle, and then down here. Some of that I was messing with my right.
Once in my life, I love
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know, I just been
You see how close you get to one, not playing. Oh, I've been. But I mean, you down there with court
Hi.
We just talked to him. Did he give you a He didn't say anything.
Let's check that hat out again. Christy. Oh, Christy, that's you right there.
Oh my God, hi.
Gary.